What are the top three skills one should be amazing at?
I would say communication.
Okay,
Communication would
top
be number
one.
one. Yeah, number one, absolutely. Number one, communication. Copywriting would be number two.
Hmm.
It's another element of communication, but it's through written form. And I would say
Hmm.
three, having the willingness to fail.
For some people, the terms like manifestation are so positive, but for some people, they feel it's a myth. What is your take on that?
I think all of that stuff is great only if you apply the energy in the direction that matters. I think manifestation means nothing if you don't apply it. You're going to fail probably 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 different times at specific different things, but
Yes.
it's the perseverance and the persistence to get through.
We know that the world is getting smaller, but building across isn't getting easier. Founders Across Borders was born out of a simple insight. Ideas travel fast, but people always build differently. They speak differently, they lead differently, always have an iconic style that makes them them. In a world wherein you might be connecting with someone from Berlin, hire someone from Nairobi, speak with someone who comes from Mongolia and you never heard of that, which is interesting. We are connecting global leaders, people who have been building across cultures, and the best ideators and action takers you've ever met. This time we have featured the amazing guest with us, Demarion Jones, aka Mari Mindful. He has been building his own school community. I would not like to say the name right now, but absolutely, alchemy is one thing that he talks about. I would love him to talk about it more. He has been a high ticket closer, closed deals for minimum $25,000 on one call. He is a designer, brand strategist, speaker at heart, and also CMO and CAO for a great company, Chams Up. I am so glad to have Mari join us, share his insights, what he's building, and help us all make crazy moves and speed up the process. And trust me, he is the most concise and precise speaker you will ever meet. Thank you so much, Mari, for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you today.
I appreciate you for having me on. Phenomenal intro, phenomenal intro.
That's amazing. I would love to start this out with, I know you've been keeping busy and all the conversations have been around you launching this community which you've been planning for so long. So, the Guild of Alchemy, how does it look like?
So the Guild of Alchemy, it takes a level of ancient wisdom and I'm providing a gamification around modern magic. I've spent a
Right.
lot of time working with creatives and coaches in the education space for, I'd say, 5 or so years now. And I realize oftentimes there's a lot of coaches that have great experience in their 5, 10, 15 years of knowledge at what they're doing, but they don't have the design understanding or they don't know how to operate their business. And on the other side, there's a lot of creatives to where they have the passion and they're also very talented and skilled at what they do, but at the same token, they lack the understanding of design. They lack the understanding of operations. So I wanted the Guild of Alchemy to be the bridge between the two, helping those coaches and creatives to one, focus on what actually matters, but then gamify the process through the art of alchemy.
It truly is magical and always reminds me of one book that I've read, which is Paulo Coelho's Alchemist. And I love it towards, if anyone who has read this, it just says that the guy goes to find the treasure and eventually, after all the things that they've done, finds it within his own village. Like it was just there in front of him, but he couldn't see it. And he had to go through this entire process to figure that out. So that process, as you mentioned, became magical, not the final treasure. So I would love to have a detailed insight about how, like, why alchemy? Why this word? How does it resonate with creators and the people those who are building their own, operating their businesses?
You know, one of my favorite music artists, Caleb Gordon, in one of his tracks, he said that it's not a matter of if we're going to be chosen, it's a battle for answer the call. And for me, I felt that I had a call to alchemy many years ago, but didn't really realize it. And I've always been
Hmm.
heavily passionate about anime, manga, comic book culture. I was a kid that, was 8, 9 years old that would walk to the library that was an hour away because we were broke. But I'd be sitting there scouring through pages of manga or just reading big, crazy size, 300, 400, 500 page books. And
Right.
I was always just enamored by just magic and science.
Hmm.
And I feel alchemy takes this blend and harmony of the two. And I didn't really start to answer that call until I started joining the synthesizer community and just
Hmm.
interacting and getting on a ton of different calls with different people on the school platform, and just realizing that all these different creatives and all these different coaches and all these different phenomenal people were already executing alchemy in their life, but they weren't aware of it. So I thought, what if I could create a harmonious and like devoted guild of people that were like conscious of their ability to
Right.
alchemize destiny, and they had the tools, they had the understanding, and they actually focused on what actually mattered to progress their business and their life forward. And just through getting on calls and just following a roadmap, I just figured out like, man, why don't I like start my own community? There's a bit of magic that happens. I think Calvin Hollywood talked about this on a podcast with Evelyn Weiss, and he said that once you're around school long enough, you'll feel this energy build up. And I've had this energy build up where I'm like, man, I'm interacting in the community. I'm like, why not have my own? So I wanted to dive in.
That's amazing. And I think community, and I believe that is the essence of building momentum. If that environment can change you to do better, move faster, and every time you're moving, iterate every single time with each new step so that the process is refined, that is a game changer. And that can only happen when anyone can expose themselves to those kind of people. I mean, if you talk about, I want to make 10K a month, 20K a month, 50K a month, of course that is achievable. But if you would be around people who are even struggling to make their first dollar online, you would see that as a far fetched dream. But right now, as you talk about the community, if you're around founders, builders, businessmen, people, those who are having their own communities, see them reach out those to those milestones, hit those milestones. It feels achievable, and you start moving in that direction because the belief is bolstered every single time. If one can do it, the other can do it too. So
Absolutely.
I would love to know about your journey as to starting out, getting into high ticket closing, designing, being a brand strategist, having this clarity. How did it start eventually? Like, what was the first step for you to come and reach this place wherein you know that you can help so many people gain that clarity and that alchemy in their life?
Phenomenal question. I would say I often look at my life in sagas, right? And the first saga for me is I was born in Gary, Indiana, and then within just a matter of maybe a few months or so, me, my mom, my sister, and my dad ended up moving to Iowa. And we stayed in Iowa till I was about 7, 8 or so. I spent a lot of time being the only student that looked like me in a class of 20, 30 or so students. And I kind of stood out like a sore thumb, but I was
Right.
always high excelling in the classroom. Not often by choice. Mom was like, "Boy, you better
Right.
perform in the classroom." So I just wanted to make sure to follow mom's wishes and perform. So I always kept the honor roll. And there was a time period to where we shifted and we went to move to back to Gary, Indiana when I was about sometime in 2008 before I turned 8. And we had the intention of helping out my great grandmother who
Oh,
now passed away.
I'm so sorry.
And she spent just I think majority of her life there. And there was a point to where she didn't have much support to just like keep her living and keep her operating. So we were like, all right, we're going to come down here, probably stay for a few years and make sure that she's good to go. We
Hmm.
came down there, and what I thought would be a welcomed experience turned out to be probably some of the most traumatic experiences of my life. So over the following, I'd say just 5 plus or so years, I went through some of the craziest things in my entire life. I had been shot at, I'd been drugged, I'd been abused
Oh,
physically by the hands of my own mom. I just had alcohol poisoning and just a host of other just really effects of what happens when you grow up in a poverty entrenched environment.
right.
And Gary, Indiana being what was for many years the murder capital of the country is
Oh,
just a space
oh,
to where I found myself being stuck and locked into for a while. And the thing about that is that through that process, that's when I really found myself starting to use alchemy. I would have to flip Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards to feed me and my sister at times, or I was always the youngest kid that was out there talking to the OGs. And I was never gang affiliated. I was never, just out doing wild stuff, but I had to do what I had to do to get by. And I
right.
knew that my sister, who's 3 years younger than me, she couldn't see me be weak. She couldn't see me, not perform. So that was, and many times, a motivator for me. She was like a child to me. So through that time period, the following saga that we ended up moving into was when my dad got custody of me and my sister. I got about 22 or so stitches, the scars you can probably barely see. And it's crazy because every time I touch this thing, I'm reminded of the smell of burnt rubber because we had a car accident in the summer of 2014 that ended up, leaving me with many stitches. Yeah, we were driving onto I-75, and rather than matching the speed, mom was maybe doing 45, speed limit was 65 or 70 or so. So she ends up dodging this white SUV, swerves to the right. On the right side, there's a bank. So instead of falling into the bank, she swerves again. On that second swerve, tire pops, our noses are filled with the smell of burnt rubber, and then we crash into the median. So me, my mom, and my sister, we all black out. So if anyone is thinking about those movies where you lose consciousness and then like you're coming to and you're coming back, it's 100% real. It goes exactly like that because my ears were ringing. There was adrenaline flared up within me, and all I remember, and this may get a little bit graphic, so I apologize, but uh, all I remember was that my stomach felt like it was back on the wall. My forehead felt like it was all the way out there, and my face was just leaking. So I was just in the backseat passenger side, just feeling totally discombobulated. Luckily, I didn't feel any of the pain, but I did faintly feel the people pulled me out of the car as my body felt like a rag doll, and the paramedics were putting me into the ambulance. So I went to the first hospital. I think I don't even really remember that experience, and then I went to the second hospital. But what I do remember is in that exchange, there's a lady that prayed over me, and I think this may have been one of the first seeds of my spiritual journey that I was actually aware of. And I never got to see the car afterwards. I did get to see the guy that stitched in my face. I definitely appreciate him. And I did have my family around me. My grandpa, my auntie, who I call TT all the time. Shout out TT. Shout out Pawpaw. And I had my granny there and my other auntie, and they were present. But that evening, as TT stayed in the hospital with me, I found out that I was getting separated from my mom because they had found several forms of drugs in her system. So in that process, that being a major turning point in my life, we spent a couple years with my grandparents, and then dad got custody of me and my sister in 2016. And many times I thought that life was going to get different at this point, which it was relatively different. A lot of the chaos in the household kind of left, but there was still a lot of noise, still a lot of dysfunctions between my dad and his partner at the time. And then some time went by, and I graduated. And then now, I have a place with my partner. We moved a couple times in between there, and just in that exchange, I had the idea of going to going. It was honestly more than an idea. Everyone in my life told me, "You're going to go to college. You're going to do this. You're going to do that." So they just assumed that I was going to go. I was always high excelling. I always had AB honor roll my entire school career, and I graduated with like several scholarships in programming, several scholarships in just like academic achievement, and all types of just stuff. Decorated with different things. I got an award back here, whatever. Once I got to college, I realized like very quickly, like this wasn't for me because just during that summer beforehand, I had paid several thousand to get into this online course around digital marketing. And while I was studying in digital marketing, I was just watching a ton of different videos online about how to do business, how to do this, how to do that. And I had my own website by the time I was a freshman. So the first project I had in college was sharing my website with people. And I was like, hey, I'm just getting started in this thing. And in that amount of time, I took up an internship, started learning things about finance, so retirement, investing in different things like that. And just in that mix, I dropped out. I was like, college isn't for me. I'm not really vibing with this. And over the course of the following years, I started just working with some clients. I started just getting, some experience under my belt.
Yeah.
And really, to answer your question, it's like I have been using Alchemy throughout the entire process. I had to transmute my current resources to get to my next, and I just wanted to follow that inclination, that gut feeling, and I think that's really just like God speaking to us and speaking through us. We just have to align ourselves with that call and answer to it and take action.
Wow. I mean, from starting to here, I was out of words, honestly, because as it's always said, there are two kinds of people. In a pathetic situation or the not so serving or not a silver spoon situation, people either give up, blame their environment, stating that, oh, God was never with me. I never got the right parents. I never got the right environment. I never had funding. I did not have money. And I did not have resources. And why I am here is because of God's decisions. And God didn't want me to do good. And then the second category, where even each odd is stacked against you, you do not kowtow or succumb yourself to that environment and make your favoring stack so that you can escape and create a better environment. So I love how you've shaped the latter, create that environment for yourself, because I can empathize that emotionally it would not have been the best journey at all. And spiritually, still keeping yourself aligned with the faith that you have in your religious beliefs, or realizing that yes, I am aligned, I'm on the right path, I'll be doing things, God is with me, and still having that positive thought process that I'll be putting on the reps without thinking of the consequences. This is the goal that I have to reach. Now I do not know how I'll reach that, but I'll still keep putting on the work or baby reps every single day, which it's just amazing. I mean, I love the fact, and this is the story should inspire so many people to keep moving instead of blaming on things.
And I want to give a caveat and a little bit of context, and because like not to cut your wisdom, but to give people a bit more detail. Right, I wasn't always spiritual. I didn't always get it right. I like businesses like punch me in the gut, drag me across the floor, and kick me down the stairs. But throughout the process, it's like some of the greatest wisdom that we gain, some of the greatest understanding that we gain comes from the mistakes that we make. Right, I'm someone that has ADHD and wasn't really aware of that until the last couple of years, or really just the last like I would say, yeah, just the last couple or so years. So I was dealing with a lot of the ill-informed habits of that for a long time. I was agnostic for quite some time until maybe just the last year and a half when my last great grandmother had passed away, and I just went through. I had labeled myself for a long time as just this black kid from the hood. And then after I got out of the hood, I kind of held on to that identity for a little bit of time, and then I was like, oh well, I'm just a kid, or I'm just this younger guy. And then it's like once I went to college, I was like, oh, well, I'm just a student. So that's where me dropping out, me leaving that defined path for me really felt like the first time I was really living. I felt, I not said just to many people for a long time, I was like, I feel like the first 20, maybe 21 years of my life was just on borrowed time. Like I wasn't really living and operating in myself. And especially the last 2 years, last few years, once I finally got into my own space and I'm paying for all of my own bills and things like that, like I got like punched in the mouth, you know what I'm saying? I had struggled. I didn't come through on things. My word did not perform in a way that it should have been, but I found some wins,
Hmm.
and I did a few things that started to put me on the right path. And I just want to let this be known to people. It's like, it's not all gonna work out. You're gonna fail probably 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 different times at specific different things, but
Yes.
it's the perseverance and the persistence to get through. That's what's going to help you to become the person that you're wanting to become. There's a version of ourselves that we have in our mind, and we ruminate on that and we ideate on that, but it's the action and the commitment to the action for a long ass amount of time that's going to get us to achieve that. When you see people online that they have this is something, and I'll say what I did. I seen a lot of people that are like, oh, I'm 18 and making multiple six figures from my digital marketing agency, and I was like, damn, that would be nice. I seen people that were like, oh, my at the time in 2019 when it was popular, oh, my Amazon FBA business blew up, or this that and the third, and I was like, oh, that'd be cool. But then I would compare myself to those people. But the thing is, it's like you can't compare your chapter 2 to someone else's chapter 73 of like volume 12. It's like it's totally different. It's totally different. The version of yourself that you want to become is possible. All you have to do is stay committed in the process, aggressively take action on everything, and just learn and be a student as much as you can. And I think that's one of the core components of the where I am now and where I know I'm going to get to is that I stayed a student. Even though I dropped out, I just applied that perspective to business, and I just voraciously read. I got myself in different environments. I stayed the youngest person in the room, and I just grew as much as I could.
Wow. If I may ask you right now, how old are you? And for like, what were the three key achievements you achieved when you were younger than what you are right now?
Yeah, so I'm 24 now, and my coach, he always tells me, he was like, you're a 40-year-old trapped in a 20-year-old body, and I was like, thanks, coach. I'm gonna start growing gray hairs now. I think I got like maybe one or two, mostly due to stress. But the thing about it is, I think when I was just younger, most of the biggest accolades I had was just like academic achievement. Most
Hmm.
of the biggest accolades I had was academic achievement. So, in business, it was neat because when I closed my first high ticket deal, it was like a Molotov went off in my head. And what
Uh,
was funny was one of the first high ticket deals that I ended up closing was actually one of the highest ones that I it's still one of the highest ones that I closed. I got onto a call. I met this guy a couple years into my entrepreneurial journey, and he's out there in California. It's my my boy Champ Reg, Reggie Foster the second. The Chance of Movement, and we just met online. He followed me on Instagram. I followed him back. I DM'd him. We got on a call instantly, just
hmm.
a cool vibe with him. I closed him on a small little, I don't know, 600 or something dollar deal. And then within a short amount of time, I was like, hey, I can add value here. I can add value here. I can add value here. So I ended up designing new websites for him and doing some marketing stuff for him and working with his videographer, and then earned the space to where now I'm the CMO and the COO of the company. And one of those days, because we were working with schools, middle schools and high schools and private schools,
Yeah.
and he shows up to do speaking engagements to teach our 22 Principles to Victory curriculum. He set me up on the laptop. He was like, hey, we're talking with this private school principal. I'd love for you to show up and, just do your thing. I had some skills from the sales training and the internship I had taken a part of and just some studying. So I was like, all right, cool, let me do this. Within about an hour and some change, I had a cool conversation with the principal. We closed the deal for like K 300 and some odd change. And I was like, bro, I was like early 20s at that time. I was like, wait. I just did this. He just put me up on a laptop. I'd never been to California. I was like, I'd never even been anything past the Midwest before, or I went to Vegas before at that point, but I had
Mm-hmm.
never been out there in California. I haven't even met the guy in person yet, but I was able to close this deal just by using my words, just by expressing myself, and just by, I was like, bro, and it just totally changed my perspective. So we went on to the course of a couple of the years and just closing more and more deals, 20K here, 15K here, getting a 10K here, another 25K here, and just ended up in a space to where the company ended up winning multiple different awards. Now we've served over close to 10,000 or so students, been in over 30 plus different organizations, and just continue to push and continue to build a movement.
Wow, that's crazy. Which also makes me add on to the subject that age is actually not important. I mean, I truly believe all the greatness is achieved when you're young. And as you grow old, that becomes a time to talk about the greatness or the activities done when you've been young. So I do see people keep on saying that, hey, you've time, you're just in your 20s, you have time. The reality is, no, you don't. You don't have a 100-year-old life to live. I mean, early 70, you have had COVID. I mean, people who were young passed away,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So even if I say 60, at 30, you hit that midlife. So you are actually pretty near to your midlife than to anything else. So if someone thinks that they want to retire by 30, 35, that's okay. It's because the great life, the healthy life, the great hormones are for that particular time zone or for that particular life. What time you're like, as Namal Ravikant says, what's the time that you're here for? 4,000 weeks. So spend them wisely. And I was like, 4,000 weeks, that's all. Stop saying 80 years, 100 years, 90 years. 4,000 weeks, that's all you have. 52
Yeah.
weeks per year. Keep on adding, subtract it from your 4,000 weeks life.
It's not too much time, and shoot, women live longer than men. So you know what I'm saying. So we don't have much time. My men out here, and I think that's something too. It's like the one guarantee that we have in life is death. It doesn't matter what else exists. That's the ultimate guarantee. No, I'm like for real. It's like when you think about it, it's like that is the ultimate guarantee. And I think oftentimes we perceive death from a space of fear, but for me, what spirituality has done is it's helped me to just gain that deeper understanding that we are eternal beings having a human experience in this current avatar.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we've like not a lot of times, but I think we've been here before, but just in a different avatar, in a different lifetime, in a different timeline. And that's the reason why, we may get certain dreams or we may have different visions or so that hit us. And how we spend that time, like our greatest currency is time. So the way in which we spend that is just truly predicated on the way we perceive the world. And our perception of the world is what often aligns our action. So just do the things that you want to do. Do the things that you want to do.
Absolutely, I agree to this. And I would love to know your point of view on the current changing landscape. We talk about Web3, we talk about AI, we talk about AI taking your jobs away and all the threats that going on. amidst all this chaos, wherein each one of us, of course, wants to be a millionaire and wants to do things that you love or you're passionate about and things like that, with the fear that whatever thing you're passionate about right now might be out of business sometime later in future, and because of that fear of future that I will anyway be outdated sooner or later, 6 months, 12 months down the lane, I did not do something. Am I able to make a link up, if I'm able to like link it up for you? So in this simple yet complex situation, what is your best navigation strategy for this?
I would say the best navigation strategy is the one that works best for you. I often tell people to stack before you jump off the ship, and you would want to stack your different skill set. So for me, I was like, all right, I've always had an inclination toward. I'm an artist. I've done traditional art for many years. I've written
Right.
for many years, and I would say number one would be, how can you improve the current skill set that you have? For me, I was like, all right, I like to design and do these different things, graphic design and websites. So I'm like, all right, how can I utilize different AI tools for my web design process? Right. I would
Yep.
use something like ChatGPT, and then it'll help me to actually develop copy for a website. And for a while I was like, all right, how is me understanding copywriting going to help my website? So I was like, hey, if
Hmm.
I actually start writing the copy first when I do my designs, then I'm allowing the copy to lead my design approach. So I use things like ChatGPT Pro or Claude, was just phenomenal when it comes to storyteller type writing. Other than stacking, I would just say is the people that you admire, see how they're using AI and see how they started using AI. Not focus on the thing that they're currently doing, because oftentimes they're on their chapter 72 and you're maybe on chapter 4. Look at the steps that they took, see what courses that they have, see what communities that they have, and understand the steps that they took, so then that way you can follow a blueprint or follow a roadmap. Some people may have a stigma with like paying money to learn
Right.
something, but it's like you got to pay to play. It's like you're like, your knowledge is gonna reach a certain point to where it's like, well, you're gonna reach a certain point in the process to where you only know what you know. But the crazy thing is that you don't know the things that you don't know. And having a coach or having a mentor or being a part of a community is literally like jumping through a portal and applying a different roadmap or applying a different system to improve your process. So I would totally say stack. I would totally say get involved into those different spaces with people that you admire. And then three, I would just say consider a reality outside of what you currently know. I think just
Hmm.
entertaining the thought of, what if I took a totally different path than what I'm already on? All right, what is my gut inclination lean like point me towards, and what tools can I utilize that align with that? Right now we're in a stage of where, AGI is running the game. These generative images or these generative just concepts are
The
what's here. I
agents.
think, yeah, I think when we get into the space of ASI, super
Hmm.
intelligence, that's when we should really be worried. That's when where it's like, all right, Terminator may be a thing. It may not just be a little thought or a little conversation at that point. But I think while we're in this AGI stage, use a tool like Perplexity. Research different AI tools that align with the current skill sets that you have, and ask the AI. Because there's three ways that you can use AI. You can use it just to do a thing. You can have an A to B. You can have AI to A to B to C, and now it's doing other things for you. Or you can use it to teach you to do a thing and then make a whole cohesive system. So that mentor for you for maybe $20 a month, 21.20 or so a month, with a couple AI tools could show you how to do these different things, and you could start to teach yourself. Ask AI like, "Hey, how can I improve my skill set? How can I improve my delivery? Based upon these details of myself, I want to achieve these different things. This is my target avatar, and this is the direction that I want to take my life." And get AI to teach you the thing, and you'll find yourself in a really great environment.
That's insightful already, is because you can talk to AI to get you out of the problem that you're actually going through. So that is phenomenal approach to solve the basic part of it, is because most of the times we are usually stuck on the fundamentals. And as even in the synthesizer meeting it was talked about, the business fundamentals or anything that you want to do, your fundamentals need to be right. For example, if you want to be a mathematician, you cannot know calculus if you do not know addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. As simple as that. If you do not know 5 minus 2, 5 plus 2 are two different things. So your basics need to be absolutely correct. And I love your approach of talking about the fundamentals initially and then stack onto the things that you know, which also brings me to understand, whenever you were trying to work on the messaging and the clarity, but as you talked about copywriting as well, So any creator who is doing good, has a good audience, or trying to go to the next level, but is not able to do that. According to you, what is the biggest bottleneck that stops them from going to level 5 or 6 or 10 for them?
I would say, and I could answer this in like two different ways. Oftentimes, the bottleneck to us getting to that next level is the thing that we're actively avoiding. For one person, it could be getting that course that's going to teach
Yep.
you exactly how to do XYZ. For someone else, it could be just getting on more calls, and those could be networking calls, which I call connection calls. It could be you connecting with more people and just showing up as a student, like, hey, I don't know, what are your thoughts around this? Share your ideas with someone in acknowledgement of who they are. Share your ideas with some of the right people,
Hmm.
but also I would say just putting yourself in different environments. And I really like to take this back to what I call the E3 principle. And one E is what's called exposure. Oftentimes, because we're not exposed to a different set of belief systems, we stay locked to the ones that we have. A lot of people will talk about mindset. And if you look at the core of that, your mind being set on a certain set of beliefs is just
Right.
based upon the level of exposure that you have. I believe and
Correct.
I align more with mental conditioning. If you keep your mind lean and if you keep your mind in the right condition that's always aligned with the progressive identity, then you're going to
Yes.
continue to grow. So that's where you exposing yourself, which brings you to the second E, which is an environment. That environment could be your local community. That environment, which is the most successful for a lot of us, is your online community, and involving your space in these different groups, free or paid or whatever that is, and just being around other people. Because a lot of times it's like the bottlenecks that you're going through is probably because you're running around in a circle and you're not doing the things that can take you off of that like path because you're comfortable. Comfort kills more people than any other disease out there. And if we stay comfortable, then we're never truly going to grow. And that growth massive happens as well with the exposure, that environment, but then that level of education that you gain. So educating yourself and being in exposing yourself to a different set of belief systems and entertaining the thought of a new identity and being in a different environment, all three of those things can help you to elevate and get from level 2 to level 5 or level 5 to level 10.
This makes a lot of sense. Yes, it does. You need to identify that tangential point through which you can escape that loop that you've been putting yourself through. I actually wanted to start this series on Instagram called as a loop within. We even recorded a few videos and things like that around. So yeah, it was more like you want to do this, but you still keep doing that. You want to do that, and you still keep doing that. So basically, your hypocrisy is the reason that you are circling. Hey, welcome to the loop within. So, and I absolutely agree. Just validated the idea that I had that okay, this is something that you should talk to people about. And yeah, I do agree on these areas of identifying all these aspects. So, what do you think about the current space of creator-led businesses, or all the founders, those who feel that okay, we have had some kind of personal brands, we want to do something different, or like multiple people have multiple thoughts on the internet, as you know, we have a lot of information, but we are draining or lacking wisdom. So what is according to you the best path for someone to go on? Or maybe if they're on the wrong path and they don't know that they're on the wrong path, come back, retrace, and then move towards that direction. Now, what would that your stance be on this?
I think I don't ever want to give like a cookie cutter approach. I really just look at the three E's. If you look at like on from a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you like your current environment? A 4,
Hmm.
okay, cool. Let's look to change your environment. How can
Hmm.
I change my environment? Let's go online. You have an abundance of access to information and people and just different things that exist. So I would say look to join a different group. Look to join a
Hmm.
different community. I found a lot of just growth joining the synthesizer community. I recommend that to all types of people because the roadmap it works. It's proven. Andrew Kirby and Aiden, I don't want to butcher his last name, but Andrew Kirby and Aiden have done a phenomenal job with that, and I'd recommend that to anybody on this educational creator path. And I would say just expose yourself to a different group of people. Like I'm just such a big proponent these days of just getting around other people because there's someone out there who's gone through the same struggle that you have. You've gone through like they've gone through every like you're not. I think that's another thing too. It's like you're not unique in the problems that you're going through. I kept thinking for a while, I was like, man, like it's only me. I'm going through this very specific set of problems that I'm specifically going through that no one else has ever experienced. I'm like, nah, bro, someone has gone through every single problem that you're going through and probably 10 times worse. So I would say just follow a proven roadmap, follow a set of system and a set of beliefs that yeah, just educate yourself. I think that's the biggest thing, man. It's like you change your environment, you expose yourself to a different set of belief systems and a set of people, and just constantly seek to educate yourself. Stay a student. I think one of the biggest things that stifles us, especially as creatives, is that we
Yeah.
will walk around with imposter syndrome. And I know that I had it for quite some time, and not until therapy and just being and getting on a ton of more calls did I really address it and become aware of it and overcome that. Just even looking back at the 22 principles, our blueprint, it's like if you're not educating yourself about these different things, if you're operating as a space to where like I know the answers already, like you'll never
Hmm.
really grow. So it's like just assume that there's more for you to learn at all times. Some of the greatest masters, I think Albert Einstein said, I don't even want to butcher his quote, but like it reaches a point to where you know that you know little. And I would say just always understand that you know very little. I'm still a student. I may have done X, Y, Z before, but like there's still more for me to learn and just involve myself.
I love this approach of being student always, no matter what, which also makes me wonder, based on your experiences of wearing multiple hats, being multi-passionate, yet having depth in a particular subject that is your interest of the line, and then broadening your area of multiple skill sets. What are the top three skills one should be amazing at to know that whatever I do, this becomes a guarantee for me? Like, not in terms of like guarantee, but yes, like it becomes a more proven path just because they know these three things.
I would say communication.
The
Communication
top
would be number
one.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
number one, absolutely. Number one, communication. If you can express
Hmm.
yourself clearly and well, that's going to work in any environment. I would say copywriting would be number two.
Hmm.
Um, it's another element of communication, but it's through written form, and it transfers to just about every different aspect. And I would say
Hmm.
three. I would say having the willingness to fail. Yeah, having the willingness to fail, because it's like I'm talented, but it's like I've been around environments where there's people that are more hardworking than me, and maybe they and I'm a hardworking ass individual. I'm a worker bee, but I've been around some people where like their willingness to not fail
Hmm.
has gotten them further than me sooner. And I think in the beginning, I spent a lot of time just having that imposter syndrome because I got into different rooms that I didn't feel I was qualified for, or I closed deals at a sooner age that I didn't think I was capable of. But then at the same token, I was dealing with perfectionism, and it was like I was waiting for this to be out or waiting for this to be good or this, that, and the third. And it's like, nah. So just being willing to fail. Be like, do it scared, do it ugly. That it can be presenting yourself. It could be getting on a podcast. It could be launching your website. It could be recording your first piece of content and pressing publish. It's like do it scared, do it ugly, do it now.
Yes, absolutely. I was speaking to a podcasting mentor, Adam, and he did talk about it that the first step is just to record. I mean, why do you want everything to be perfect? And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if you did not hit the first record button, you would even not know that maybe, oh, you hate your voice, you hate your own camera presence, or maybe the setup is not right. But at least you're putting the things out there and you get feedback, you get bad feedbacks. Like I had the first reel made and I asked my best friend that, hey, have a look at this. And he's like, why are you keeping a mic like this? Why is the voice like this? I'm the devil's advocate. One line of appreciation would have helped me. But he was like, this, 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 this. And I'm like, okay, positive approach. I took all the feedback. I called my designer. I was like, change it. I don't know. Your task. Use AI. I don't care. Figure it out. We need it better.
Yes.
Then as I stopped taking feedback, I said no, start working better. So
Yeah.
I do believe that yes, the feedback loop and just starting it out, like even if it's messy, even if it's ugly, would get you to some place and maybe open the
Yeah.
doors that you did not even know did exist in the first place.
Yeah. Messy, imperfect action is still output
Yes.
versus like and people will confuse preparation for planning, right? And like planning oftentimes is just this space of ideation and rumination that you're never really putting anything out there. But if you're preparing, you're doing the work and getting the things in the right, ordinance, so then that
Yes.
way you can produce something, that way you can press play on something. It's a very different process. Reading, and there's nothing more productive than like what there's nothing that feels more productive than watching 5 podcasts and taking notes, right? It feels great. The dopamine hit, like that shit is, it's just so good.
Crazy. Yes.
It's so good. Like it feels amazing. But if you're not putting anything out, it doesn't mean anything. I read probably every self help book up until the year of 2023, just voraciously reading. And I've taken a lot of notes on these things, and I've watched a ton of podcasts. But if I don't share anything, if I don't put anything out, that's why I'm at a point now to where I feel like I feel called to share. I feel called to get outside, because I spend a lot of time just in the trenches working on things and doing some of the work. But there's another level of me that I need to share. I need to get on more podcasts. I need to record more content and share it with you. I need to write more and just press publish. Just press publish. That's not where it ends, but it's where it starts. And a lot of times people don't even start.
Yes, that's very true. A lot of times people don't even start. Which I'd love to know, since you've been starting this out now, which is your community, your new venture. How do you want to help creators, and what is one framework which you feel works best in the current problem that you're trying to solve? And of course, give a brief about the problem as well, which you feel is the pressing one. That's the reason you're wanting to solve this out.
Perfect. Yeah, phenomenal question. I would say the biggest thing that I want to help out creators with is to. I've been called a kingmaker. I've been called a foundationizer. I've been called a catalyst.
Hmm.
And all of those have some sort of connection to helping people to set a spark to that powder keg
Right.
that they're sitting on. And I want to help educational creators to really set a spark to that powdered keg and allow that flame to burn and ignite something that I don't promote. Don't burn forests, but I want to make sure that that flame can ignite an entire forest and an entire plane of existence. Because a
Yes.
lot of times they'll get stuck and stifled on just not knowing how to start. Like a lot of times, like we don't know how to organize things to put it out there into the world, and we don't know how to block out all the noise, or we don't know how to like really actualize our vision, or we struggle to add any structure to it. We struggle to
Yes.
integrate it properly, and all those different letters. The OBASI, my Obasi framework, is focused on teaching that. I'm wanting to help individuals to organize all the thoughts, the ideas, organize the components of their story, the components of their
Hmm.
many years of experience already into something that's digestible. I want to help individuals to block out the noise because we live in a noisy world. Like everything is constantly fighting for our attention. I live by kill feed. I live
Yes.
by airplane mode and D&D. I want to help individuals to actualize that A in there is like, it's cool to organize your thoughts and block out all the noise, but if you're not doing the thing, it doesn't matter as much. So I want to help individuals to actualize that and adding that that right structure to the process to where now you
Yes.
can actualize something in alignment and actually help that to build. And then the I is the proper integration. How can you use AI tools? How can you gamify the process? And how can you make sure that you're just having a lot of fun while you're being a creative? So that Obasi framework, it's both a framework that we can operate in our personal lives. It's
Yep.
a framework that we can operate in our business lives. And I think it's also a framework that we can operate spiritually. That character, Obasi, it's a symbol of a panther. It's a character from my story, The Ascension of Foresight, which will be released in many years from now. But a comic book series I've been working on since I was about 7, 8 or so years old. So that panther means a lot to me. There's a lot of different semblance with it. So the Guild of Alchemy is a precursor to um, my comic universe. And I see it as the scale of as great of an inspiration as great of Marvel Studios, and ideally even larger.
With this, I have a cool incident to share as well. So I was in Washington, D.C., and I was singing a Bollywood song and humming to myself. So there was a gentleman sitting right in front of me, and I was not, who cares when you plugged in, AirPods plugged in, and I'm like, no, 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 where my song has been. So the person stops me that, like, you sing really good. I said, thank you so much. And we're just having this quick conversation about things. And suddenly the person asked me that, do you watch Marvel? And I remembered my sibling is because every Marvel, DC, action, anime, Power Rangers is because I have a younger sibling who loves all of that. And for us to bond, he makes me watch every single thing. So I was like,
Let's go.
ask me, I know. And he's like, what's your favorite Marvel movie? So I end up saying Black Panther and
Let's
Wakanda
go.
Forever. So the
Nice.
first the person looks at me and he's like, did you just say that because I am black? For a second I was like, no. Why? Why would I do that? He said, no, did you just I said no. This wasn't instinct, is because that's what I keep on doing like Wakanda forever, and I did not like when actually the lead character passed away in real life. I
Yeah.
it was a sad moment, so that's why this was erased. He's like, are you a Mexican by any chance? I felt good that I look Mexican to other people as well. I wish I could say I'm a Latina, but yeah, I'm not. He's like, but that one thing I was like, and I thought he asked me is because he had come back based
Yeah.
on something that was Mexican. But I didn't want to say that because he was bad. So yeah. So I would love to understand, like, since you've mentioned about, like being different in school and you treated differently, and that did create an impact on you. Right now, when you have a great position, so you are a youngest CMO, CEO, which I can relate because I was given a responsibility as well when I was 19. So how does that cultural identity shape your work, or you feel it doesn't matter?
That is a great question. I haven't been asked that many times. That was a good job on you. That one's good. We're digging now. We're digging. I had my shoes ready for this one. That's good though. That's good. I would say culture means everything to me. And because we have, and this may ruffle some feathers, but not every nationality of people has culture. And the thing about it is that culture is something that you can read about, you can watch movies about, you can listen to podcasts and stuff talk about it. But if you've never really felt culture, you don't really understand it. And I'm grateful to have, been a sun-kissed child and be a black man in this country and a young king with an old soul, as I say, because having a connection to my culture
Mm.
has what's been helpful to getting me to where I get to. I think of, the ancestors that fought tooth and nail, blood, sweat, and tears to get to where they got to. And I am the offspring of many others who dedicated time in their own life and existence to get here today. And for me, I don't limit myself to only work with people that look like me. I worked with, every shade under the sun, but I often have an inclination to minority groups and to people that look like me. And I think it's because of that energy of culture, it's because of that energy of, just not just that the black essence, but just like the black thought.
Yeah.
And although that's also one of my favorite lyricists, shout out Black Thought, there's a lot of like shit that black people have to go through. And there's also a lot of shit that black people put onto other people that don't deserve to deal with that. I don't
Mm.
subscribe to the racism that some black people will put out, and I also don't subscribe to the racism that black people perceive. But
Yep.
I just seek to be that sovereign minded and sovereign operating individual that's always looking to pay homage to my culture, that's always looking to represent myself properly in whatever environment that it is. And it's not a matter of black excellence, but it's a matter of black essence. My essence, my energy, regardless of what people believe, black folks have been some of, if not the most impactful individuals on this entire earth. Hip hop has
Mm.
gone global and has impacted almost every different form of music, almost different forms of culture. If there's a black person that shows up in presence, there's also a large crowd of people that come to watch.
Yep.
And I also want to be a representation, not just of manhood, not just of marketing or branding, design, and things like that, but I want to make sure that I'm a voice on culture. And that's why, as a kingmaker and as a catalyst, I want to help these different educational creatives to produce their own curriculum, to produce their own course, to produce their own platform, and build their own kingdoms. So that way they represent their culture at the greatest possible capacity that they can
Wow. Honestly, this statement just gave me goosebumps. Like, I am being so
have.
honest with you. Is because acknowledging the fact that you're a kingmaker and you want other people to build their own empires is a massive statement. Committing yourself to that process and ensuring that the promise that you're making, you stand up to it and you deliver that empire. Of course, it's a work that the person has to put in as well. But for them to be this culturally, mentally, emotionally nuanced person building an empire for themselves means a lot. And I think this is a mindset each one of us should be having because, for example, right now, sometime back, the conditions between India and Pakistan were not great. We were having like war-like conditions, missiles are firing here and there, and like some things were not great. And of course, their media would portray something else, our media would portray something else. The media wants to influence the mind of the population. I have someone I know in Pakistan. We became good friends in Boston. He
Mm.
messages me out of the blue stating that, hey, I know the situation between the two nations are tense. I hope you and everyone in your family is doing great. And if you need any
Mm.
help or anything, feel free to call me, feel free to talk about it. I'm happy to chat. And I hope you are safe. My best wishes to you and your family. And he is a guy who is from the country wherein we on media it's been talked about the anonymity and animosity about this. And I had goosebumps that reading that message that night is because I realized that it's about the mindset. If I do not want to, as you talked about, that there are people advocating about X thing, people advocating about that thing. Now, even if coming from these two different countries which have a shared long history of not great things between them, if the people can be concerned about other people, it is about that connection instead of the media propagandas out there, which was life changing. That one message was like amazing. I mean, I was like, hats off to the mindset and the sovereign space or the secular space that they have. And the same applies to working with people, different kind of people. I mean, if you do not like someone from some place or whatever, your unconscious bias would affect the way you work with people, no matter what.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I tell people it's like the king and the pawn go back in the same box. And I'll say that
Ah,
again. I'll say that again unless people miss that. The king and the pawn go back in the same box. It doesn't matter which shade, tone, or hue they have. Everyone comes from the same place and they go back to the same spot. So operating from a place to where you believe that one is superior than the other is ignorant.
hmm.
That makes you what you believe that other person is. That's swine-like behavior, and that's a swine-like belief system. And I don't align with that at all. And there's no one that truly succeeds in this life spiritually that has that alignment mentally. You don't have that type of conditioning and perform well. Maybe financially, you may there's a lot of racist individuals that have a lot of money, and maybe you get a lot of the things that may please the flesh, or you may experience things that may seem enjoyable. But I think under the eyes of God, that gets filtered out. I understand what it's like to be a God fearing man, and also one that seeks to walk this world in his godly form as much as I possibly can. I think those who truly achieve a level of success achieve it spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, and they operate at their highest level. They operate in their godly form. So that's why I think
Wow.
it's a beautiful thing for you to have conversations with someone else who's in a tumultuous, turmoil ridden environment, to where the media
Yeah.
is portraying one thing, but the reality is that, humans are being human. And especially in this age of AI, I think more and more people are going to appreciate the traditional artists who put blood, sweat, and tears into doing their work, or they're going to appreciate the genuine conversation, whether that's, face to face where you can feel each other's breath, or if that's hundreds and hundreds of miles away. I think just being more human. That's going to be my biggest mantra, especially moving forward, is just let's just be human. Let's just be genuine. Let's be grassroots. Let's be down to earth and stop acting like, we are better than each other. So.
Yeah, I love that thought is to know that we are all equals. We would be unequal, or there would be inequality in business playgrounds, of course, because different resources, money, everything. Deep down, technically, we are all equals. Depends on different playgrounds and different scenarios and situations. Still, on the fundamental side of it, it is that. So, yeah, I love
Absolutely.
that thought, which would also want me to understand this aspect about what is or how does exact success look to you, or how would you define in your words someone who is successful?
I think success is, I see someone as successful if you wake up every day and you feel as though you achieved what you wanted to achieve in proportion to the way in which you perceive this world. Because to some people, it's like success may be a certain dollar amount, but there's people who commit suicide in their Bugatti. To some people, there's success may look like having all the women in the world, or having all the just the stuff and the things in the world. And I think success looks different between, all the different people out here. So for me, my idea of success is just waking up, enjoying life, and not just being happy, but being in joy. Those are totally different feelings. Happiness can come from you receiving a gift and you feel a moment of being happy. I think joy is a childlike energy. Joy is this pure frequency that you feel. And I seek to live a life to where I'm in joy as often as feasibly possible. And I think when I'm living a life where I'm truly, truly in joy, I think that's when I'm successful.
It's a thought-provoking approach that you've mentioned. So, with that being said, what is one myth or myths could be multiple that you would like to debunk in the creator business space, or you work with them? What are the myths in the industry that you feel would like to burst the bubble?
It's a big bubble. A lot of bubbles, many and big bubbles. I would say the one that instantly came to mind is like you don't have to have it all figured out. Like I think that's something that like people like will portray that, and and I bet there's some people that are like, oh, you got to have X Y Z figured out and all this thing
Yeah,
and this and
yeah,
the
yeah,
third.
they do.
Like nah. It's like you don't have to have it all figured out. Start messy, imperfect action. Do it scared. Do it ugly. Just get going. I'd say another myth is that this one may be different, but I think the other myth is that you have to do something brand new. I don't think that's the case.
Hmm.
I think you just have to do something that's already proven and just add your own spin to it. It doesn't matter what industry that you're in. It doesn't matter what community or something that you're involved in. There's been somebody that has done a large chunk of what you're thinking about in your mind,
Yep.
and they've done it well. Well, I think we've been the way that people on a surface level present themselves has portrayed things in a way as though you have to be an innovator from day one, and that's not really the case. Most of the greatest innovators, like they spent time trying to do the thing that already existed, and then they reached a bottleneck. Then they reached a point where they're like, all right, maybe I could do a different approach. But majority of them never would have really gone there if they from the start try to do something different. How can you do
Yep.
something different if you haven't even tried doing any of the things that already work? You gotta fail 100 something times before that 101 thing actually works out for you. Like you have to involve yourself in the space and like really get a vibe for it before you're like, all right, maybe I can add my own spin to it. So that one for sure. And one more, because magic happens in threes. I would say, and this one's actually kind of counterintuitive to what I just said, but like the myth that you have to always follow the beaten path. That's where it presents an opportunity. And that beaten path could be the one that was laid out for you by someone else. For me, it was like the path that was laid out for me was going to school, getting a good job, and graduating, retiring, having a good life. I didn't vibe with that at all. Even when I was performing well in school, I didn't vibe with that. So I think it's a matter of just taking that different path. And that
Yeah.
doesn't have to be so big and grandiose. That could just come in the smallest form, like just the way that you start off your day or the way that you end off the day. Right. I think maybe this you could say slash on number three is like having I think it's not always about having the perfect morning routine or the perfect startup to your day or the perfect like defined system, but I think it's really on how you reflect upon the day.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
What did you actually achieve? What did you actually learn?
Hmm.
And what results did you generate? I think if we spent more time in reflection on
Yes.
what actually happened rather than trying to have the day start off in the most perfect possible way, because life happens. Life just be life, and it just be doing what it do. Reflect on the process. A little introspective.
These are gold words for someone who wants to experiment and try things out. This, I believe, would help anyone also build a better relationship with money. What are your thoughts on that?
Building a better relationship with money. You're
Hmm.
worthy of having it. You're worthy of having it. Growing up in the G and just not having much. I've gone without every utility possible. There was a time that we took water from a neighbor's hose just to clean ourselves and take care of ourselves, and like they weren't aware of it until some time afterwards. It's like I've
Yes.
gone without water, heat, electricity, all the different things, and even on Section 8 housing, still struggling.
Hmm.
And for a long time, I didn't think I was worthy of wealth. I wasn't worthy of having things, and I'm not. I'm some big baller, but I know that I'm on the right path. And a lot of that just came from changing my identity, changing my relationship with money. Because I think if you don't even believe that you can have it, when it happens and you do get it, it's gonna like rupture the way that you think about things. Like when I made my first 5K in a month, I was like, damn, I really did that. Like, holy what? You know what I'm saying? When I closed the first 30K deal, I was like, wait. I couldn't do that. I'm just the guy from the G. I ain't, you know, I was on the laptop, bro.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah,
didn't,
yeah.
I'm not worthy of this. So I think it's just the worthiness thing. I think just believing that you're worthy and aligning yourself with that version that you have in your mind. And it's like just having an imagination too. I think imagination is what's missing. This is why looking at the 22 principles to victory, imagination is my favorite principle. It's the one that aligns so much with me because you just have to entertain the thought of you having more. The imagination and that desire doesn't have to be your motivator, because I think fear and desire are like cousins, maybe even siblings, and they come from the same box, right? If someone put
Yes.
a gun up to your head and said, "Hey, if you don't do X Y Z, then you're gonna get blasted," I guarantee that's going to be a phenomenal motivator. You're going to do whatever is required to make sure that things happen. So use fear as a great
Yes.
motivator, but don't walk around with the cloud of fear, because then you're always
Mm.
going to feel rained on. And I think a lot of times we want to make it rain, but we're walking around with this cloud of doubt and unworthiness and fear that is preventing us from like living that fulfilled life.
Love it. This gives perspective and the belief as like you're worthy. I was speaking to a personal branding strategist. She's right now in Indonesia and she's building her own brand. While having a discussion, she asked me the 3 why step process, and she said that, okay, like why do you want to help community builders, or why do you want to like always be in a space when you are around people? I said it's because sometimes people have believed in me more than I believed in myself, and that changed so many things for me. I wouldn't have been able to do achieve a lot of things that people at my age or in my environment specifically could have done. So, yes, I had an ecosystem of people who just could believe that, yeah, I could do it. And that belief could change a lot of things within me. And she said that that's the center of your story. You are doing this is because you feel that everyone wants such kind of people in their life. I said, yes, they do. And that mindset helped me attract the kind of team wherein if I tell them, trust me, my team, I told them I don't think that this is going to work. They are calling me, they said, it will. Start it out. Oh my God. I used to think that it's always the other thing that, being a founder, doing something, you have to tell your team is you have to do this. Calling me or they're telling me that, okay, we don't know, but you gotta do this. If not, we are taking
Mm-hmm.
this life. The worst thing is that it's not going to matter. Sometimes I ask them that, is it like, do you find that it's true, like truly delusional or something like that? And they say that, no, you're not delusional to us. I am delusional to a lot of people as an individual when I say this to you. And to my teammates and my colleagues, they're like, no, 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 where is you? And now we've made this a tagline that to all our problems, our Delulu is our only Selulu. And that's what we talk about. So, I mean, I love what you have talked about, and this just touched this aspect of this, which I'm just is strengthening my belief system as well. This conversation that yes, this does happen. Which brings me to a very interesting segment of what we do. It's called as 7 questions to fame, and
Okay.
I will be having these 7 rapid fire questions, which I'll be asking you.
Okay.
Feel free to let me know once you're ready to go.
I'll share one point on that last thing that you said, because I thought that was phenomenal. It's only delusion until it works.
Yes.
It's only delusion until it works. So to all the people, because I've been doubted by a lot of individuals, and I had to alchemize that into fuel. So use whatever you have at your disposal. Alchemize that into something that can move you forward. And it's only delusion until it works. But always stay delusional to the dream that you have in your mind. Yeah, go ahead. I'm ready.
Absolutely. And I love that. Uh, it is a beautiful thing. People would want you to fail and they would be happy seeing you fail. But deep down, you would know that you're failing is because you're delusional. And someday that would become a reality. And
Yeah.
you look at these crazy Christopher Nolan, his movies, Oppenheimer, Interstellar. Isn't it the perfect example of what delusion and reality is and what it can do?
Yes. Yes.
So I don't have any reason to just live in the reality that, or anyone should, that the world presents to me or presents to
Yeah.
you. Probably. I mean, that is the reality given to you, but you can make your own reality out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think there's a quote that goes 80% of people would be happy to see you fail, and the other 20% don't even care. Now, there's a very small amount of people that do care, but 80% of people just want you to fail, and the other 20%, like they don't even care. So like, get the fuck out of your head. Like, just do the thing, do the thing. Like, come on now. But I'm ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. How would you like to describe yourself in one word?
Catalyst.
One thing that you would like to change in your current environment to make yourself do 10x of what you're doing currently?
Maximization.
Whom do you love the most on this planet?
Myself.
Interesting. What is a legacy that you would like to leave the world with?
I know you said rapid fire, but that one got me thinking. I would say you can, you will, and you are worthy.
That one was great. That gave me chills. If you had to choose between one, what will you choose? Money, maximization, fame.
Maximization.
If you had to trade everything that you know right now for something, what would that something be?
Ask the question again, please.
If you had to trade everything that you have right now, your knowledge and everything, like your presence, if you had to trade everything for something, what would that something be?
If I had to trade everything for something, being closer with God.
Loved it. And what is one advice that you would like to give your future self?
Keep going.
Are you a Nike fan?
And a Nike fan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I respect what Nike's doing.
Yeah.
They kicking ass.
Yeah. Loved it. I mean, thank you for answering these crazy 7 questions. And I love the precision and the conciseness that you always have in your answers. And
I try.
that is it. That's something that I admire the most.
Appreciate that.
Which also brings me to another interesting section that we do. It's called as 90 seconds to teach. So if I give you 90 seconds to teach me something, how would you like to utilize them? You maybe can take 10 seconds or 20 seconds to think about it. Yeah. That's why I love these spaces unscripted.
This is good. And just for the recording, I told her, don't send me any of the questions. Don't send me anything in advance. I just want to go. I just want to dive into it. This is good. Can you ask the question one more time? One more time. I'm talking too much.
I am giving you 90 seconds to teach me something. How would you utilize those 90 seconds to teach me something?
I need you to repeat after me.
Okay.
I am worthy.
I am worthy.
I am in alignment.
I am in alignment.
I am that is. I am that is.
I am that is.
Congratulations. You've now mastered affirmations.
Wow. I need to say that?
That's it. For anyone watching, I am statements are some of the most powerful things that you can say to yourself because you embody the energy and the frequency of it. In this life, we are magnets to everything else that exists. So it's the same as if we wear black, we absorb the energy that's outside of ourselves. But if we say I am statements enough, are altering the neural pathways in our mind. So saying that I am worthy, and I am that is a statement. I think I am that is maybe an original or altered statement from that which is in the Bible. But I am that is anything that you have in your mind. So I am that is in alignment. I am that is, I am worthy. All those things, it's emotion with each other. So we've mastered affirmations. Congratulations.
Thank you for that. And I feel better. Like suddenly the energy around me, I do feel like, something changed. And it's like 2:15 a.m. my time. So
shout out to you for fellow night owl getting the work done. And I know that we rescheduled this meeting a couple times. That event lasted longer than I thought it would have. I was trying to make sure that you could get in by like midnight, but no, I appreciate you for being a trooper, getting it done.
Much appreciated for your time. I would love to know about this aspect since you touched, and I feel a lot of people would love to hear this, is about how are affirmations in sync? I mean, I have seen so many people debunk this, saying that no matter how many affirmations I did, nothing worked for me. And some people say that when I started doing affirmations, things changed for me. For some people, the terms like manifestation are so positive. But for some people, they feel it's a myth and it doesn't work, and it's the most stupidest concept that you are preaching, not even teaching out there. What is your take on that?
I think all of that stuff is great only if you apply the energy in the direction that matters. I think manifestation means nothing if you don't apply it. Affirmations mean nothing if you don't apply it. You're just feeling good in the moment. But if you then use that energy, if you use that I am that is energy, that I am worthy energy, I am in alignment energy, and you align your action and you show your worthiness and you be that energy that you say you are through your actions, then it works. I think it's been a massive disservice for the massive self-help and self-development community to just tell people to do those things without the caveat of like, yeah, you actually got to do the work afterwards.
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of there's a few different types of people. You got the pessimists, you got the narcissists, you got the optimists, you got the pragmatists. I align more with optimism, but I also have a level of pragmatism.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you look at a cup and there's this cup doesn't have any water in it, but some people would say this cup is empty, or this cup has the potential for water to fill within it, or it's like, hey, get me another cup. You know what I'm saying? There's a bunch of different perspectives you can have on it, but I think whatever perspective that you have, whatever you tell yourself, believe it and then do the thing. That's all that really matters.
Absolutely. The action changes, and the more you do it, it changes. I was in Austin and I signed up for ice skating. It was like a $20 2.5 hour skating rink. I have never done ice skating on real ice, and I used to do roller skating when I was in grade five. It's been more than 10 years I did not step on the the rink even. I still remember I learned roller skating to beat my neighbor. He said, "You cannot beat me at roller skating." I said, 30 days and I'll beat you. 30 days. And he used to be like, he's been doing it for 2 years. 30 days and I beat him. And I was like, okay. So I knew that I could do something like that. Like he's been practicing, but I so obsessed that, oh my god, I have to beat this guy in 30 days. And I did that. Like the same date, it was like we decided to meet outside my house, and I was like, race. And when I beat him, I was like, okay, crazy, I could do that. But this ice skating is a different ball game altogether. In my mind, I said that, okay, I'm starting from the corner, like the sides, and I'm not even able to walk properly. Like I fell once. Then I had kids around me, younger than me. They are like, oh, fine, you take this supporter, do this, do that, do that. Towards the end, I just said this to my brain: no matter what, Yukta, you have to get at the center. You have to leave everything, the sides, the support, the supporter that you have. You just have to start sliding on your own. And that's just me an hour into the ring. And I just had 1 hour left. I fell nicely 2 times. People are looking and
I love how
they're
you
like,
said that.
they're like, is she gonna be okay? So I'm like I'm just yeah, 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 I'm all fine. Like it's just an Oscar that I'm taking up. Pick myself
Yeah.
up. Towards the end of it, I was at the center without
Mm.
any support, and that's first time entering the ever real ice skating rink. So that experience
Mm.
did teach me that if you put that on your in your head that you can do it, even if you did something years back and it was very different, but if you put it in your head and you keep on going, you can become better at it. It is just the
Yes.
confidence of taking that pain and connecting yourself to the process. Someone
Yes.
said me holding my hands that connect yourself to the ice. The ice is seeking your connection, nothing else. And I was like, what is this
Mm.
guy talking about? And when I actually started connecting to the ice, I did not fell. I did not fall. I did not touch the ground. I had a smooth exit. Yeah.
I wish I would have followed that energy when I busted my ass multiple times on the skating rink, not ice skating, but just regular skating. I'm like, all right, there's a lot of black guys. There's a lot of black folks. They can skate. They can dance. As soon as I got out there, busting my ass. Got up again, busting my ass. Did a little thing, busting my ass. It was bad. So I wish I would have followed that advice. But you said something that was so profound there. It's and not to cut your wisdom on it, but it just hit me. It's like we make so many mental deposits, and there's an internal bank that we have, and you're either making deposits into it that are positive, or you're withdrawing funds from it. And if you're running on E, it's going to be really, really hard to just move and to operate.
Mm.
Right.
Mm.
So that internal currency exchange, I would like for mine to be as positive and abundant as feasibly possible. So that's going back to affirmations. Is like, I think if you tell yourself more great things and then you go and operate, if you're filling up your gas tank with fuel, and you're driving in like a just out of just the top of thing that hit my mind. If you're driving in a Honda Civic and you're actually
Yeah.
putting like decent unleaded oil into there, and then you're actually driving and moving that, you're going to move
Mm.
around well. But if you're in a Honda Civic, but then you're putting in diesel, and it's like 100-year-old diesel, and you keep on doing that, it's not going to go too well for you. So make the right mental deposits, even if it's just a few cents, a little change here and there. And then sometimes you may put in $100, may put in $1,000. Like, man, I feel good today. When you get a win, speak nicely to yourself. When you take a L, speak nicely to yourself. And something that I've been having that has been tremendously hard for me is like needing to give myself grace, to make the mistakes, to take the time, to just do the thing, to marinate in the process. Give yourself a little bit of grace.
Absolutely loved it. I just feel that it's so much of the thoughts and beliefs that make you act every single day, even though sometimes you're feeling emotionally low. But in the back of your mind, since you know you have to do this, you would still keep acting on things every single day. And that changes everything, which is heartwarming. And I am grateful that we are having this conversation, and I'm grateful to you to spend this time and space to record this. Before we like I mean, I know we always have time, which I'm like, oh, why? With that, do you have any closing notes that you'd like to talk about?
I definitely appreciate you for inviting me to this space. I knew that once we had our conversation, we were just, just connecting with each other on the call. I feel like an energy here, a vibe here. I wish you just abundance, success. I hope this becomes the next Diary of a CEO or the next. I take that back. I hope that it becomes its own thing that people can connect themselves with and just like really learn something from and apply the information. And I guess to leave anyone else with something, it's tap in to school.com/alchemy. Join us in the Guild of Alchemy. It's in its early stages right now. There's a personal legend that I'm fulfilling right now, and I feel called to fulfill that. If you're a educational creator that's needing a catalyst, or you needing to better cultivate your brand, or you wanting to build a kingdom, tap in with me at marimindful.com, and I'll help you in any way that I possibly can.
Thank you so much. We would be launching our newsletter as well, and I would love to feature this story, add all the links for people to join, and anything, any resources, templates that you feel that people should know. We're happy to share it with the audience out there. So that's Mari Mindful for you. And this is another interesting episode for Founders Across Border. Thank you so much, Mari, for your time. And I am truly grateful to have this engaging space, which was full of value, actionable steps, and the most important thing, the correct or the ideal mindset to kick things off, but maintain it.
So I appreciate you. I'm glad I could give even just a morsel of value. So until the next one, stay legendary.
Stay legendary.